One of the ways that I talk about the way the brain creates the pathways and changes the patterns is about imagining that you are out on a lovely walk, you have just reached a crossroads, you've chosen this path and it takes you into this amazing, luscious field full of long, wavy green grass. You haven't taken this path before, it seems unfamiliar, it seems uncertain. You might even wonder about whether you should turn back and take the other path that's more trodden, that seems more familiar, that seems more comfortable. You've done a quick risk assessment, you know it's safe. So you start to tread that path, you walk across the field. When you look back on yourself, actually you look back and you can't see any trace of where you've walked before. Imagine if you did that route now twice a day for the next week. You'd still be taking that path. It might still feel unfamiliar. You might be stumbling a little bit underground. There might be rocks there that are in the way that you weren't expecting. You might have to climb over little bits of fence. There might be a few obstacles in your way. You may even wonder, is this worth the effort? Should I just go back to that path that was trodden and take the easy route? And actually, when you look back in the field a week later, you might not be able to see any trace of your footsteps. It might look as though it's untrodden ground. Keep doing that. Keep taking that new pathway and building those connections. Keep taking that pathway now for a month, for 3 months. Over time, you'll be more familiar with what the terrain is, where the little bumps are. You'll know how to overcome them. You'll know how to move past them. When you look back and you've crossed the field, you'll be able to look back and you'll be able to start to see a little bit of a new pathway emerging. It might only be a little bit of a gap in the grass, a little bit of a troddenness. You may be able to see that. Keep doing that new thing for longer, and after 6 months, a year, you'll know where all the obstacles are. You'll know how to overcome them even before you get to them. You'll anticipate them, you'll be prepared, you'll be ready. You'll look back across that field and realise that path looks like it's been there for ages. You have trodden that new pathway, and that's exactly how the brain works. The more that we work with it to tackle the things that are unfamiliar, the more we familiarise the brain with that, the more we help the brain to create those networks, those new paths, the more the brain then becomes accustomed to the fact that, okay, this is a new pathway, this is something new I'm creating. And that's why when we're talking about habits, we're talking about mindset, to change all of a sudden can be really challenging, but it's the work that you do over the time, the path that you help the brain to tread in order to create that well-trodden path is the thing that actually makes the difference to how sustainable any changes you make are.